Hi, and welcome to another episode of Friday Album Club. I'm Charlotte Gunn.
I'm Larry Bartley.
And today we've got, as usual, two new albums for you we're going to talk about and one classic from the archive. So the first one that we're going to be discussing today is Courtney Barnett's Tell Me How You Really Feel.
So, album 2, Courtney Barnett. We had A Sea of Split Peas, which was her double EP a few years ago, and then...
So that had Avant-Garde and History Eraser and
the ones that made her name.
Yeah.
And then Sometimes I Sit and Think, and Sometimes I Just Sit.
That's right, yeah.
Which was her debut studio album. And that had like Pedestrian at Best on it, and... Depressed, more classics. And this one is darker and more melancholy and disillusioned, but more honest, I don't know, more kind of personal than we've ever heard her be. Yeah,
I think Courtney Barnett sort of made her name like a social commentary and kind of a funny style, and like always that kind of feeling of melancholy running through her stuff, but with this sort of comedy edge to it, I would say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this does feel like a more honest album, more revealing in terms, and maybe kind of some of that sort of comic edge has been like stripped back in points, and it's just kind of quite raw and revealing. But I love it. Yeah,
like I think the first single still has that feel of like funny but also very cutting lyricism, like it's called Nameless Faceless, and there's a Margaret Atwood quote in there about it's this classic quote of like, men are scared that women will laugh at them, women are scared that men will kill them.
Oh yeah.
And but then she's also like hitting it out at trolls on there, like who are saying that they could do what she does, and she's like, but you didn't, did you?
Yeah, at points she's quite angry. It's in I'm Not Your Mother, I'm Not Your Bitch. It's like really punky, quite angry Courtney, which I don't think we've heard before in quite as much. When she's like, sit down, shut up, it's all the same, but sort of like really
it's kind of there's not really guitar. It's just a target. There's not really any like point to the song other than just like fury, which is kind of great to hear.
Yeah, I really like it. So, like, she did that Kurt Weill album, which was the last record that we heard from her. And I think, like, on paper, that seemed like it was going to be the best thing. I love Kurt Weill, I love Courtney Barnett. A duo of those two was like, oh, amazing. But somehow they kind of out-slackered each other.
There's a song called Over Everything, which is, I think, brilliant.
Right.
But then, and the video's really good as well. But there's also a song called Continental Breakfast, which is the one that sticks in my mind, and the one that like is sort of mocked a bit by some members of the team. I think there were the bits of brilliance on that record, but
it was just when you listen to it all together by the end, I was just a bit like,
oh
boy, I cannot hear any more of this. But this, I think, is Courtney back doing what she does best. I think it's her sort of how she's developed since record 1 is interesting. Like on the last album, so her first proper studio album, you could hear her just like singing a little bit more than that sort of like just sort of talky singing, and it sounded a little bit more polished, I'd say, but not in a bad way. Not like she'd sort of sold out or lost any of her charm, but she was just kind of pushing herself as a musician and a vocalist, and I think you kind of hear that even more on this record. She's like that song I mentioned, I'm Not Your Mother, I'm Not Your Bitch, is a really different sound for her.
There's a track called Crippling Self-Doubt and a General Lack of Self-Confidence.
Yeah, and I think that kind of sums up everything that she's about, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that track. But that's got Kim Deal.
Kim bloody Deal.
Pixies Kim Deal. Breeders Kim Deal on backing vocals.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best ones.
Yeah. And then it ends with Sunday Roast, which is this lovely, dreamy slacker rock.
Yeah.
You're doing okay. Carry on.
Yeah.
So a lot of the album's about mental health and kind of dealing with anxiety and depression and...
topical this week, of course.
Yeah.
Mental health, topical always, but
Especially this week.
Especially this week.
It's nice. It's a nice rounding off to the to the themes of the album.
Yeah, I mean, we interviewed her a few weeks ago. You can read that online on enemy.com now. And she talked about always having this melancholic feeling about her since she was a kid, and just hoping that it record helps people feel a little bit less alone. And I think both of those things come across. But yeah, I'm always a big fan of Courtney. The first time I heard Avant Gardener, I thought it was the best song I'd heard in years, and played it probably about 20 times a day for a month in some kind of weird teenage obsession with it. But yeah, I really love her, and this album I think is another excellent addition.
Yeah. What would you give it out of 5?
Oh, I mean, it's up there. I would say, I'd probably say 4. But, pushing a 5, definitely. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'd say the same. It's, like, very, very good.
Yeah. Nice one, Courtney. So, the next record we're going to talk about is James Bay's Electric Light, also out today. Okay, so James Bay is back with album number 2. Yeah. Phenomenal success with his last album, Chaos Before the Calm.
Chaos and the Calm.
Chaos and the Calm. He was on the Brits playing guitar with Justin Bieber. He just huge rise. Number 1 album.
Long hair, big fedora.
Long hair, hat. Where's the long hair? Where's the hat?
It's all gone.
It's all gone.
He's reinvented himself, apparently.
It's all changed for James Bay. When asked about that, we did an interview with him, which you can read next Friday on enemy.com. He said, he talked about it just kind of being his thing, and he was sort of a young guy going out there in the music scene and always wanted to have, felt like fashion and music go really well together. Well, have always been very intrinsically linked, and this was kind of his thing. But the hat's off.
The hat is off.
It's gone.
Yeah, I mean, he said sort of that it's like he sort of compared himself to Bowie almost.
He did.
By saying, like, he wants to reinvent himself. Every album, it's going to be different every album.
I think, in his defence, I think there were just that element of Bowie. Yeah, that's probably a little bit harsh. Poor James.
How well do you think he has reinvented himself?
I think it's interesting. I kind of have no doubt this record will do phenomenally well. I'm sure it'll be number 1 next Friday. And I think the fans will love it. It is a different sound at points, but it's kind of a big mix of lots of different sounds.
Yeah.
There's the first song, I think, Wasted on Each Other.
Oh, right, the first track.
Is that the first track? It sounds quite weekendy. There's like skits on it, like a sort of hip-hop album at points. It starts off with couples breaking up on the first intro bit skit. And then there are other points, it's kind of really rousing, big kind of guitar songs, like...
Hosiery style. I mean, his old sort of bluesy...
Yeah, vibe. Yeah, so there's sort of... there are hints of what you thought James Bay was on it, but then lots of other stuff as well.
Yeah, like I think the biggest change is Pink Lemonade, which was the second single.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah, actually really good. Strokes and other rock bands inspired.
Yeah, it's just really good song, really catchy, great guitar track, and you kind of heard that and thought, shit, maybe that's what the new record's going to be like. But
yeah, there's a lot of quite bloated choral, big choir backed brassy blues, which I feel like if he wanted to really do it, he should have gone the whole way rather than like having a little bit there and a little bit here.
Yeah, delve into that, and then because you can't. I get a sense that is really where his heart lies, maybe in that kind of stuff.
Possibly they were just testing it out and seeing whether that would do well, and then next album going further that way. I don't know, but
there are points like there's a track Wanderlust. The Love of Travel.
Yes. What about it?
When that starts, it just sounds like a War on Drugs track immediately. You're like, is this War on Drugs? No, it's James Bay, how weird. And then there's another one that sounds quite Springsteen-y, Just for Tonight. in our review, Jordan mentioned that there's one track which is one of the kind of really rousing, uplifting, clappy ones, which sounds very Bleachers. And yeah, there's kind of on Wasting on Each Other, he's like, there's a high we keep on chasing, we can feel like Novocaine. But by his own admission, James Bay sort of doesn't really go in for any of that.
Dabble.
He doesn't dabble. Well, who knows? Maybe he does. But he comes across and presents himself as he's very into his music. He's not really a like rock and roll lifestyle kind of guy. But you know, we could all write about things that haven't necessarily happened to us.
Yeah,
can't we?
Yeah, we can. I think another big song, or another big change was the other lead single, which is Wild Love, which sounds to me like this is quite obscure. Well, not that obscure, but like James Vincent McMurray. Do you remember him?
I don't.
He was this sort of like folk star, and then he made this other album called Post Tropical, which is all like synthy and like loads of falsetto.
Oh, right.
And it sounds a bit like that, but a lot of people compare it to Bon Iver.
Bon Iver, yeah. Did he compare it himself to Bon Iver? Oh no, he said he'd been listening to Bon Iver, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. He definitely talked about Frank Ocean and Prince and Taylor Swift, I think. So yeah, there's a lot of influences on here. I think the tracks to listen to are Pink Lemonade.
Yeah.
The ones that like will change your perception of James Bay, possibly. That, In My Head, Wild Love, and Fade Out, which sounds a bit like Rye to me, sort of R&B.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is all as you'd expect.
As you'd expect, but you know, look at James Bay, George Ezra, that kind of the success that they've both had.
There's clearly a market for it.
There totally is. I think it's a good album. It just feels a little bit confused.
Yeah.
So I think he's done a very good job.
Yeah, well done, James.
Well done, James. What would you give it out of 5?
I would say a 3.
3? Yeah, I'd go for 3 as well.
Yeah.
But solid effort.
Yeah. Next album is...
Oh, it's one from back in the day.
Archive. It's 5 years old.
It's a belter. It's Daft Punk's Random Access Memories.
So, Random Access Memories.
Released in 2013.
Yeah. Teased by a like 30-second clip of Get Lucky, Song of the Summer.
Song of every summer ever.
Which was sort of wildly anticipated from that moment on. People like made remixes of it when the song hadn't even been released yet.
Yeah.
And then it came and it was #1 for ages and it broke streaming records. And then the rest of the album, which is an hour and 15 minutes, I think Gem really lived up to that hype.
Yeah, I would say so. So it was 8 years on from their previous record, and I think the fans were very ready for new Daft Punk proper. They'd obviously been doing a lot of other stuff in the meantime. But yeah, Get Lucky as to drop as the first single off a new, highly anticipated record. Like, could they have possibly done any better? I don't think so. But what was a different sound for them, in that I think it really did kind of propel them into the mainstream in a way that they obviously had huge success before, but it felt like it was a kind of certain type of person that was really into Daft Punk, that sort of really liked electro music or specifically that kind of thing. But this was now, it sort of made Daft Punk a band for everyone. Yeah,
like your granny would probably know who they are now, sort of thing.
I don't know,
possibly not. But yeah, they became icons, I guess. The helmets and the chic vibe.
Yeah, so it's kind of a disco record, right, in a way.
Yeah. They said it was inspired by Rumours by Fleetwood Mac and Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, but it was just generally quite disco-y.
Yeah, well, like Nile Rodgers on there, 2 tracks with Pharrell, obviously Get Lucky and the other one, which I can't remember what it's called, and
Lose Yourself to Dance. There
we go. Oh, that is a big tune.
Banger.
Yeah, but I mean, did the fans like it?
Not as much as Get Lucky, I don't think. What, the album?
Yeah, like, I mean, critics went crazy for it, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it went #1 pretty much everywhere, probably just because of Get Lucky. And I don't know, there's quite difficult songs or like long songs on there. There's one it's called Georgia by Moradare, with like a long interview with him at the beginning, which is inspired, I guess, by him and all his iconic disco work, but that is kind of quite experimental, I guess, because it's weaving this kind of spoken word bit into this really symphonic track. It's like 9 minutes long, and there's another one on the album which is 8 minutes. There's some quite like chunky stuff to work your way through, but then there's also like Julian Casablancas.
Yeah, I love that track. Yeah, that, you know, surprising in a way, feature on that record, but yeah, really good addition. I think the fans, they did that big tour in 2007, the Alive tour, which was a huge hit and kind of known now as one of the greatest sort of dance music tours ever. And I think fans were disappointed that they didn't tour this record, and they wanted to, but it just the change in kind of setup. They used live drums rather than drum machines on this record, which kind of made it difficult to figure out how it would translate live. So they didn't tour it, which, you know, if you release an incredibly successful album with a single like Get Lucky and then there's no tour, I guess that, you know, that is disappointing.
Yeah, but I think it still holds up now, doesn't it? Yeah,
I mean, I was listening to it this morning and just thought, like, it is just the perfect summer album. Like, if it was released today, I think everyone would be going absolutely crazy for it. But
yeah, and like they were on the Weeknd Starboy album, they did Starboy and they did I Feel It Coming, which could have been on Random Access Memories almost. It's got the sort of robot-y vocoder style singing, and I don't know, I feel like if they'd made another album, which they could do, might be doing now.
Who knows?
It would probably be a completely different tack again, because they've sort of nailed this now. Yeah,
I think with all their records, they sort of pushed what dance music was about and really kind of changed the landscape of it. But with this one, I don't think there have been so many acts since that have kind of really taken on that sound. So I think it still stands up as quite unique and hasn't really dated. But apart from people like maybe, you know, Parcels, who are like relatively small, but you know, amazing live, amazing record. Like, but who, you know, I don't know who else really has that Daft Punk sound. So
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I think you're right.
But so kind of hugely influential, but also really still stand out as their kind of their own thing. Like no one else is really doing it like they do.
And I think it's probably like their first real album. Like it's one that's meant to be consumed in one go, whereas like I don't know, their previous three, I don't know if they were considered in the same way.
Yeah, could be right about that. So we don't know what they're doing now. I think people have been hoping they're doing something new for a very long time.
There was rumours of a tour last year. People made like fake websites.
Fake websites, always, talk of it, but nothing concrete. So for now, we will just have to listen to Random Access Memories over and over again all summer. But it still is one of the greatest summery records I've heard in a long time. So it'll do me.
Yeah. Rating?
5? 5, it's got to be a 5. Next week, what is out next week, Larry? Do you remember?
Churches. That is the main one that sticks out. I don't remember anything else.
Some other new releases next week. We'll be back then talking about new records, old records, and some other stuff that's going on. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.